Hi, I'm Michelle El Khoury. I'm the founder of Yogamazia. We are a maternal and children's wellness education yoga studio based in Richborough, but service the surrounding areas and also in New Jersey, online, and across the U.S.
So I met you a few years ago when we both opened our studios at the same time, and we just happened to meet on the street outside of the studio, and you had your kids with you, and it really resonated with me because I obviously love to bring my girls to the studio. And then we've done events together, and both of our kids have all been there. And so what is it like to kind of integrate, or what does work-life balance mean to you?
Now it means something so different from what it used to mean in the past when I was in the corporate world. So, my background is that I worked for over 20 years in the healthcare setting, then shifted to being an entrepreneur. And at the time, COVID was also sort of still going through its moments.
Yeah.
And that really helped us redefine what work-life balance meant. And so now it really does mean so much more for me in being able to prioritize the time that I am able to spend with my family, spend with the kids, get the things that I know are important for them on the table to help lead them into a place where they feel so much more secure than before.
So who has been the biggest influence in your life?
So that question really is different depending on the time of life that I'm in. I think that's probably the same for everybody. When we're kids, we might be looking up to our parents or teachers, and then when we get older, it's maybe professors in school, and then when you start to work, it's maybe mentors, and all of these people are great. I have had many wonderful people that I've looked up to and who've supported me in my life and given me the opportunities to get to where I am. But at this point in my life, getting close to 50, I really look up to my kids. They're truly my inspiration. They were the inspiration for Yogamezia being formed, certainly my own personal experience in having them, and then their own personal experiences as they went through their lives at that time. And I think now, having the opportunity to help not only them, but other children and other families and other people who are having families or thinking about having families, about what parenting looks like. Because I think we can all agree that parenting is not just this straight line, going from A to B to C to D.
Right.
We're going through in life in general, in fact. So having them inspire me and taking all of what they're going through, all of their ideas, it really helps in addition to everyone else who's helping and supporting. But because they're the ones that I'm trying to help as a priority, listening to them and having what their experiences are and helping me, making the decisions that I make makes a big impact, not just for me, but also my partner, and our family and everyone who's around us.
It's amazing. So what made you decide to go from corporate America to owning your own yoga studio?
Yes. I love telling this story because people think it's wild. And first of all, a lot of people, even today, still think that I took this extremely big risk. And it is. It is a big risk. For any entrepreneur that's out there, it takes a lot of courage to live a dream. And for me, it wasn't really this lifelong dream. It's really based on experiences. My corporate life blended in with my personal life. My own pregnancies, my first pregnancy was a little bit different. It was a little bit challenging when it came to time for birth. And by the time I was pregnant with my second, I was really looking for ways to change that mentality and what those outcomes would have been. It's not just let's have a healthy baby.
Yeah.
And so I found yoga, and that transformed my life, even though I was still working in the corporate world at the time. As the years went by, it gave me an opportunity to really find myself more, and different opportunities came along in between that time, to which my children were also part of that. And by the time COVID hit, and I really started to even think about what having a studio or a yoga business would look like, it also morphed in with some personal circumstances that were happening with one of my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were able to use that as an opportunity to really catapult this business plan into a reality.
What advice do you have for the next generation?
Oh, I love that question. I would say the same thing that I say to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Be yourself. One of the values of Yogamezia is authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
And we really drive that home, not just with the children, but with parents as well.
Yeah.
To really embrace who your kids are and who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
It is more than just a word, being who you are or being authentic, but it's really having that purpose and that mission inside of you to be who you are.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage as well. Because a lot of people have sort of a different persona as they are on the outside. And I had that even for many years in my corporate life, I would say. You know, being professional, going by the book of you have to be a certain way, you have to dress a certain way, don't speak unless you're spoken to, or be a certain, you know, persona, as I said. And that then, it boils up. It boils up, and eventually, you know, it's just gonna, that balloon is gonna pop at some point. And so when we were developing the values, actually it was my kids, my eldest daughter, who was a teen at the time, we came up with these different words of what she even wanted to see, what drove her at the time and why she was feeling the way that she was feeling, and what she would expect for someone who is welcoming her to accept. And that turned into the 5 values that we have today: gratitude, respect, authenticity, community, and equity. And at the time, those were just 5 words that we had on a paper, and we started putting everything together. And one day she was just shuffling things around, and we saw the word grace based on the first letters of each word.
It's amazing.
And so the middle of that is the A. And in the studio, we have a wall where those words are displayed, and authenticity is represented by all of these different light bulbs with one that's very different. And so we always look to that, because that you are your own light bulb.
That's right.
You shine completely different from anyone else, right? You have a photography business, but it's completely different to someone else's.
For sure.
And that's only because of what you know that you want for that business. And it's the same thing with the kids. They know what they want in life. We can guide them and support them. But at the end of the day, if they're not living who they are inside, that's not going to lead us into the future that benefits all.
I love that.